I wanna let my hair go gray. I wanna move in my body with no shame. I wanna lie underneath the stars with you. I wanna know love and I want you to know it too. In the real world, in the real world, that's where I wanna be. In the real world. Hey. I wanna feel the dirt between my toes. Watch and wonder while this garden grows. I wanna eat a ripe peach on a summer day. Listen to what the river has to say. In the real world, in the real world, that's where I wanna be. In the real world. Hey, yeah. Now someone wise said, go outside to find out what is true. This mountain has been a good friend to me. Every single day another offering. In the real world, in the real world, that's where I wanna be. In the real world. Yeah, I just wanna be, I just wanna be. Yeah, I just wanna be, I just wanna be.
There's nothing that you need to bring with you here to be welcome. No right beliefs, no proof of citizenship, no address, no eternal optimism or clarity of conviction, no infinite courage or endless expertise. You don't need to know that how you are brought here or how you'll solve that problem that you're mulling around in your mind this morning. You don't need to already be perfect. In fact, none of us are, or even halfway. Whew. You already belong in this circle of grace that meets us where we are, where love resides in each one of us, and yet somehow is more than all of us, creating us on this day anew, again and again. This grace meets us exactly where we are. And so we welcome you here this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. What a beautiful morning it is, made more beautiful by your smiling faces and music that blesses us. We are so excited to welcome, as you've already heard, Beth Wood with us here this morning. Woo! All right. During those deep COVID times, Beth joined us on Zoom once. And when we watched Beth on Zoom, She was only like this big. Now she's here with us in person, and we're so glad. Beth is a modern-day troubadour, a poet, and a believer in the power of word and song, as you will see and hear this morning. Beth has been writing and performing for over 25 years. She was born in Texas raised, and lives here in Oregon now. She began as a classically trained, folk-tinged singer-songwriter, went to wailing Southern rock for a while, and then ended here with some acoustic coffee house. She's a well-respected poet and national tourer. And there were awards, many, many awards, which I will not list here, but trust me, she has received them and she has earned them. She's the director of Sister Songworks, a series of intimate writing retreats in collaboration with the Sisters Folk Festival. And though people enjoy her all over the country and world, we are grateful that she lives right here in Sisters, Oregon. So welcome to you here this morning, Beth. Before we sing our opening song, I'd like to make an announcement. As you know, for the last few months, Randy King has been our interim choir director. Correct, Randy? Would you stand up and wave to the good people? Randy's fantastic, as we all know. We've experienced him leading the choir, and it has been fantastic. We've loved it. And the search goes on for a permanent choir director. When I asked the choir what they wanted out of their choir director, they said they wanted someone positive, someone who would go to the heart, someone who would tell the truth, someone who is patient, someone who is serious but also very fun, someone who is structured but could also improv, someone who is curious that would offer positive affirmation and enjoy being with the choir. A tall order for our new choir director. We have found this person. Randy King, will you please stand up? Smoothly shifting from interim choir director to just simply choir director. And I think we are all grateful for that seemingly subtle but wonderfully welcome transition, Randy. So we'll sing our, you can clap again for Randy. Yeah, sure. So we're going to sing our opening hymn, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We did so good with the round last week. We're going to push our luck and do it again. I invite you to rise and body your spirit. We'll divide into three, even though there's only two halves here, we're going to divide into three halves. So this section will be the first section. The general middle section will be the middle section. And the left section, over there with Randy, will be the left section. So I'll guide this section. Beth will be leading the middle section, and Randy will be guiding the other side. When we break into a round, we're going to sing it all together through twice first. And Chayla will be doing the
Basso profundo.
The basso
profundo.
profundo. Yes, exactly. The basso profundo for us under, which is, you can feel free at any time to break with your group and sing with Chayla. All right.
It's very simple.
Yeah, very simple, but I think we got it. Just jump right in. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving.
Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, 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 come yet again, come.
All right.
For our chalice lighting this morning, we have a blessing for new beginnings from Reverend Allison Miller from First UU in Portland. May the power and possibilities of new beginnings be a blessing upon us in this season of change. May we muster the courage to try new things, celebrating that we can learn our whole lives long. May we tend faithfully to the roots and shoots that bring us closer to our heart's true longing. May we cultivate compassion for ourselves when a new phase is unwanted or hard. May we find in ourselves the resilience to begin again, always in love.
You please rise and embody your spirit as we sing our chalice response, Spirit of Life. All right, I'd like to invite all the young and young at heart down to our rug in the front for our time for all ages. I'm not sure why. Yeah, that's not. We are toys of rain, enter rejoicing. All right, you ready? This is, I've got some exciting. For today. This is going to be the greatest time for all ages ever that I've ever done in my entire life. This is it. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be the best, the very, very best I have ever done in 11 years of doing this. This is the one. This is it.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. I'm a little nervous about it. Now that I think about it, this actually might be the worst.
Oh no.
No, I think this is actually the worst time for all ages I've ever come up with.
Oh.
No, this is the worst one ever.
But you just said it was going to be the best. I was looking forward to it.
I thought it was going to be, but now I think it's going to be the worst.
Oh.
Okay, it's gonna be.
It might be normal.
Okay, I'll just do it. I'll just do it, and we'll just see.
Okay.
Maybe it'll land somewhere.
That sounds
in the
like a
middle.
good plan.
Okay. All right. So it's a story. It's just a story. So that's already beginning very medium, isn't it? Okay. All right. Maybe I'll keep standing. Okay. It's a story. It's an ancient Indian wisdom tale, and it's about this storekeeper, and he goes to this wise guru, this wise man, who's going to help him sleep. He's very wealthy, very rich, and he's sold all kinds of stuff out of this shop, and he goes home at night and he cannot sleep to save his life. I mean, he is just so tired. He tosses and turns and wakes up in the morning unrested. I don't know if that happens to any of you all, but that's what this guy's dealing with. Cannot sleep. So he heard this guru, this wise man, could help him. He goes and the wise man says, no problem. Take these herbs, these plant medicines. Go home, eat them, and you'll sleep like a baby. So he did, took it home, smashed them up, put them in his tea, drank it, went to bed, and tossed and turned all night. No sleep. Didn't work. Thought this is supposed to be a wise man. What's going on? So he goes back the next day, says that didn't work. You got anything else? Wise man says, oh, okay, sure. Here are some yoga poses. Just try this, and it'll work like a charm. Guy goes home, does all the yoga poses, which Amy could probably show you better. I'm not going to pretend to show you yoga poses. But he did them all. Did them well, did them long, was tired when he went to bed, and no sleep. Tossed and turned all night long. He might have. He said, he went back to the guy the third day. He said, okay, that didn't work either. I've tried the herbs, I've tried the yoga. You got anything else? And he says, why don't you try this? When you go home, and you go to bed, and you're getting ready to go to sleep, and you're thinking, as you do before you go to bed, think about everybody that you haven't told the truth to. Think about, y'all ever play games, amongst with your kids, like Monopoly, or Scrabble, or Tic-Tac-Toe, or Tag, whatever that might be, all kinds of games. You ever play with someone who cheats? Yeah, it's kind of like cheating. So he said, think of anybody you've ever cheated. Think of anybody you've ever not told the truth to. The guy said, yeah, no problem. I've never cheated or lied to anybody. So yeah, that's what I got to do. That'll be quick. I'll go to bed and right through it. So he lay there and he thought, okay, I'll just go to bed. Well, there was that one guy that I overcharged for the rice because he didn't notice how much it was, and he said it was $1 more, and I said, yeah, that's it. So I probably did cheat him a little bit. That wasn't true. But that was it. Except for that one time where someone came in and I intentionally charged them a little bit too much, and that probably wasn't good either. And there was that other time when I sent a delivery out and I sent a little bit too, like not enough, and they didn't notice, and I didn't say anything. So there was that one too. I guess I cheated them. And so then the man did this over and over, and he ended up realizing when he started really deeply thinking about how he had been truthful to people and honest with himself about it, he realized that maybe he hadn't been as truthful as he thought. And so after he did that, he took a deep breath and said, okay, I think that's all of them. And he slowly nodded off to sleep. He went to the guru the next day and he said, oh my gosh, the third thing worked. I slept so well. And the guru said, keep doing that. Just keep being honest with others and yourself, and you'll sleep a lot better. And he did. And so it is in our lives. Sometimes we tell ourselves things that aren't true. Maybe like this is going to be the best time for all ages ever. Sometimes we tell ourselves things that are not true, that aren't helpful, like maybe this is going to be the worst time for all ages ever. I don't think either one of those was true, but I was kind of wrapped up. I was pretending, but I was kind of wrapped up in it. I was telling myself things that weren't true. And I do now, yeah. And so we can trust that if we are willing to be honest with ourselves and with other people, not only might we sleep better at night, but we can trust that we're held in that honesty, in a sense of love, in a sense of grace, Grace is a big word that means we can trust that we'll be loved by a community around us. But even more so, the hard work is to trust that we can love ourselves, even if we're honest with ourselves and with other people. And I think we can. There should always be enough love in your heart to take care of yourself, even those hard, prickly parts of yourself as well. Somewhere right in the middle, right? It was somewhere right in the middle. Yeah. Somewhere right in the middle. All right, we'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it. All right.
We are going to keep exploring vulnerability today in RE. We're going to learn about friends and how to connect that to vulnerability. But before we go, we have to say our children's covenant. Will you help me? In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
Good morning. My name is Chayla Sloper. I'm the Congregational Life Facilitator. I have today's announcements, and I want to start out with a very special thank you to anybody who picked up a shovel and was moving that fresh snow around. So big thank you to those that didn't need to be poked. They just picked up a shovel and started shoveling. And as always, a special welcome to those who are with us on Zoom. And a welcome to those who are new or new-ish in our congregation today. For your benefit, for those who are new or new-ish, we have a newcomer welcome today in the library following the service. And so if you have questions about UFCO, you just want to get some pointers, you can meet in the library after the service. And then I just want to highlight a few things on our skyline. And in particular, of course, you can read through the things that are there, but I wanted to highlight especially Pi Day next Sunday. So Pi being 3.14. We're going to celebrate as close to Pi Day as we can. That'll be on 3.12. So there's still a sign up if you'd like to bring a pie. And then Bob Hadeen, this is a new announcement for us. Bob Hadeen has offered to do a presentation on the I Ching, and that will be a week from Thursday. And then the two other great opportunities to eat together. We'll have a circle supper on Friday the 17th. There is a sign up at the kiosk. And then also the third Sunday suppers, which we began last month. We have the menu for March, and it will be a baked potato bar plus salad. So if you have picky eaters, or if you are one, then you'll know what to expect. But that's the circle supper, you bring a dish to share in someone else's home. And for the Sunday supper, we make it affordable for everyone, $5 for 10 years old and above, and free for 9 and below. But most excitingly, we have our spring membership classes scheduled. So we just finished 2 Path to Membership classes, and you'll hear more about that this morning. But we have our spring membership classes scheduled for March 28th. That'll be the last time we can wrangle Reverend Scott to the first class before his sabbatical, and then April 4th. So those are Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8, and guess what? There's a sign up for that on the kiosk as well. If you've been coming and you want a name tag, sign up at the Connections Corner, And let's see. I know, blessings on your day. And Reverend Scott has something else to share.
I do indeed. It's an update on our stewardship drive, which February was our stewardship month. And right now, of our 490,000 total, we have come to the place where we have $434,380. Each one of those dollars is gratefully appreciated. And so some of that breakdown is that there are 36 new pledgers from of that, like about 37,000, and that has made a difference so far. So all this is to say that we are incredibly grateful for where we are so far in this, and as we expected and found last week, myself being among them, there were some of those of us who procrastinated and making their pledge to the life of this congregation, and they came kind of whooshing in last week, and so we're grateful for that, and we welcome continued whooshing. And at this point, I see Bob Barber. I saw Bob Barber. Bob Barber, could you stand up for a second? And I see Marianne Jordan. These are two members, and I see up here, I see Susan Kinney. Why are we seeing these people? This is the beginning of the month of March, and at the beginning of the month of April, I will be going on a 5-month sabbatical, and this is your sabbatical task force team. Susan Kinney, Bob Barber, and Marianne Jordan. If you know these people, you know, and probably are taking a deep sigh of relief and saying, we are in good hands. Yes. If you don't know these people, you can trust that that round of applause is because the people who do know them trust that we are in good hands. So next week, they'll be leading a service for us about what that means and how this congregation is going to engage that time as a fully enlivened and bubbling and fruitful time for the congregation. So we're looking forward to next Sunday as well. Thanks. And our first of the month, this is what that is, in our first Sunday of the month in March. And as is our tradition, we have the Greater Community Collection. And this morning we are sharing our offering that we collect with the Shepherd's House. And we'll hear a bit about that now.
Hi there. I always like to look at the back of the heads when I come in a room, and there's a lot of wisdom in here. Which makes me feel so good. I'm like, I gotta hang out here more. And hi, Randy. Hi. That is a good man. I love you. I know Randy because I'm a teacher turned different kind of teacher. I now work for the Shepherd's House, which is a local nonprofit that some of you are probably familiar with. We actually operate the largest emergency shelter in Oregon. So the one by Bi-Mart, y'all are probably somewhat used to with seeing in the news. Our motto, which seems to fit really well with this group, is grace changes everything. And we believe that loving people is pretty simple. We start out, we're a low barrier shelter, so we find people exactly where they're at. And sadly, that's oftentimes in the deepest, darkest places in the fringes of our community. But we, I think in the month of January, we had 419 different individuals take shelter at our shelter. About 20% of those people are employed people that are just struggling to make ends meet. We also have our share van that you might see driving around town. That share van goes out with resources to Hunnell Road, China Hat, all those different places to get to the furthest fringes. We have a shower truck that operates to bring dignity to those that are just needing something as simple as a hot shower and a meal. Then they usually find their way, sometimes if we can, to the emergency shelter where they can have a bed and 3 meals a day. In June last year, we turned it into a 24/7 shelter. So shelters primarily are 6 o'clock p.m. you check in, 7 o'clock a.m. the next morning you gotta go. Our city partnered with us last year, and so now we stock it with services during the day: Mosaic Medical, Deschutes County Mental Health, printers, computers, ability to get your driver's licenses and your documents organized. And then we also have 2 residential programs. So we have our men's residential center and our women and children's residential center. We are a free service, so people come, we're not insurance driven at all. So they come, stay as long as you need, get what you need, and then we move people oftentimes into graduate housing that struggle to find the next place to go. So anyways, that's a little snip about us. I think I'm probably close to my 2 minutes, but if you guys want to learn more, our website's super simple. It's just shministries.org, and we would love to chat with you if you want to plug in and hear more. So yeah, thank you.
If the ushers will come forward, we'll now take our morning offering to support the Shepherd's House.
You're walking around wondering if it's too late. Your head knows the answer, but your heart can't wait. If love is a road, then fear is a gate. So you muscle up the courage to walk through. It feels like the eyes of the world are on you. Your feet made of stone, just trying to move. She is on to you. Love is on to you. She is on to you. Love is on to you. Maybe you're kneeling on the ground with your hands in the dirt, wearing your grandfather's old flannel shirt, wiping the tears, trying to reconcile the hurt. Or maybe you're all alone out there on your tiny boat, trying like hell to make that thing float, wondering if this is all that she wrote. She is on to you. Love is on to you. She is on to you. Love is on to you. Yellowbird singing her morning song, even when it feels like all hope is gone. No matter the darkness, here comes the dawn. She is on to you. Love is on to you. She is on to you. Love is on to you. She is on to you. Love is on to you.
Yeah. Well, as Chayla said this morning, before our service, we had our book signing ceremony and we welcomed some new members into the fellowship of this congregation. And we are so grateful anytime that new people come into this congregation, because when they do, we invite them to bring, as we invite all of us to bring, our whole selves, trusting that we join on this spiritual journey together. It is our hope, and I'll invite those folks up here now to our stage to be recognized. It's our hope that all of these folks, in bringing their whole self and in being part of this congregation, will experience some sort of transformation toward love, and will in turn transform this fellowship in the ways of love.
So, in addition to those who were participating in our 2 winter classes, we have a couple who happen to have a direct connection by biology to our guest singer today. But we will invite each. They will introduce themselves to you this morning. But here we seek to create a loving community that transforms each of us while we transform the world. And I think after COVID and maybe after the last 20 years, I think we're learning about community again. We rejoice anytime another person claims UUFCO as their spiritual home. So, we did have a book signing ceremony this morning, and so they've received a book about the principles and some reflections about this tradition. And those who came with children, they have received a book to share with their children as well. So they'll introduce themselves to you now and share a word about either how they feel today, what they bring to this fellowship, or what they love about UUFCO.
Hi, everybody. Whoops, no. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren Kelly, and I'm here because of a contemplative life.
Hi, I'm Claire Fontana. I just want to say thanks to everyone for being so welcoming.
And I'm Ann Wood, a new Argonian, and I say the same thing. You are so welcoming.
And I'm Bob Wood, and pleased to bring you your music today.
Carolyn Brooks, and I feel energized.
I'm Jessica Higgins. I'm enthusiastic to jump into the life of the fellowship.
Steve and Julie Sloop. What's our word? Unity?
Yeah, and unity and grace. And we have a family includes my stepdaughter, her daughter Josie, and Josie has a granddaughter. We have a granddaughter, and this is Noam's grandpa's flannel shirt. So that spoke to me, and yeah, grace.
Hi, I'm Lynn Ekstrom, and my heart is full of gratitude to be a part of this wonderful, caring community.
Hi, my name's Emily Moxley, and I feel peace.
Hi, I'm Danny Callan, and my premise is to make people more important than anything else. And I'm glad to be joining the AV team out here.
Hi, my name's Jan Lee, and I was listening to Brandy Carlisle's song Crowded Table, which we sang once here, and so my word is belonging, and I'm happy to be here.
Good morning, my name is Duke Chadsey. I was raised in the Unitarian Church in Portland, and I am grateful to have returned to this community.
My name is Joel Pitney. My word is common ground, and my wife, Laura Pitney, is back with our son, Jackson. She's supposed to be joining, or she did join this morning as well, so I guess I'm speaking on both our behalf.
My name's Trisha. My word is evolving.
My name's Amanda Roberts, and I'm here with a big family with sets of parents and my husband and children, and my feelings are depth of gratitude for community.
Joining the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon means entering into covenantal relationship, a relationship of mutuality, of giving and receiving. Our mission is that we join together to find meaning, celebrate life, and serve the spirit of love and justice in our world. Will the members of our fellowship please rise? As they join us, will you once again renew your own commitment to this congregation as we live into beloved community? Will you always work to create a space of welcome, of exploration, of justice, and of mutual support through the joys and sorrows of life? And will you receive our new members with open arms and hearts, celebrating their now deeper connection with our community? You may be seated, members. Thank you. Welcome members, new members of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. And on behalf of the membership of UUFCO, we extend to you all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities associated with memberships of this congregation. I encourage you to learn about UU tradition, our history, and our promise. You are now a part of this congregation with all of its imperfections and beauty, with all of our human frailty, our power, and our hope. We joyfully receive you as members among us.
So if you've been hanging around these parts, you know that part of being in this fellowship is sharing in life and sharing our joys and sorrows each week with one another. We share these, if we want to share with the entire congregation in written form, we have these written on the, or placed on the kiosk out front. And if you'd like to light a candle for a joy or a sorrow in your heart this morning, please feel free to do any time while I'm reading the written joys and sorrows. Those candles are just right here on the sides of the sanctuary. Joan Landsberg shares a joy for 5 yellow crocus bravely blooming through the snow. What a joy. I was only 2 syllables off from a haiku, Joan. Did you know that? It had a poetic ring, did it not? But from joy to sorrow, from the Ellen Mercer family. Perhaps you've heard that Ellen Mercer had a stroke. This has rendered her left side inert, and she remains fully herself, though. Her personality, her cognition, her memory, and her soul. She remains the decision maker for her life, and we kids are facilitators of that. It's difficult for her to talk, a condition that, believe us, has not decreased the volume and opinion in the room. We have, as our great grandmother Mad said, the gift and the curse of gab. Thank you to this beloved community for honoring our family's privacy. Dale and Marion are the points of contact for the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. After service today, Amy and Sister Jan and Doug will be available in the conference room to receive any joys or sorrows that you might like to write down that could be shared with Ellen. She loves hearing about our little daily beauties. Perhaps you could offer her one of yours. And as for the future, no one quite knows yet, for her or for us. We have been meeting with the palliative care team to work out options. And this is written by Doug Mercer. And so Doug and all the Mercer family, I think you know all of our love is with you and of course with Ellen and as this journey continues. Amongst all the joy and all the sorrow in our lives, all the weight and all the levity, we might wonder how can we carry it? How can we hold it all? And the answer is together. Let us share in some silence this morning to find that place within us that's calm, that's peaceful, that speaks out to us about the promise of the world and the promise of our very lives.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so delighted to be here with you. Thank you for being so welcoming to me and also to my parents, Ann and Bob. I grew up in the UU Church in Lubbock, Texas, which, if you can imagine, was about the size of this choir riser. Very small. I've been emailing back and forth with Scott about this morning, and when he told me that the theme was going to be vulnerability, I thought, oh, thank goodness. That's pretty much my entire catalog, so we're good. But then he let me know that he was going to go a little deeper and talk about being vulnerable in allowing ourselves to be our authentic selves, and what an act of courage that is. And this song addresses that. I am a very slow processor. I don't know if this happens to y'all, but I'll think like 2 weeks later, I'll think of something I should have said. That's pretty much my whole life. And I've been trying to keep up, and trying to move at this fast pace of the world. And eventually I just realized that it's okay to go at my own pace. And this is called Backroads. It is an interstate world. I am a backroads girl, chewing on the heart of every matter. Here it's all neon and noise, but I am denim and turquoise, and I'm trying to find the meaning in all the chatter. 6 a.m. the alarm rings. I can't move this heavy load. The world is spinning, a new day beginning. You go on ahead, but I'm gonna take the back roads. I have tried to match the speed, but my nature intercedes. I think of what I should have said 2 days later, and I can't make the words come. Got no daggers on my tongue, and I am useless without my pen and paper. Your thoughts come at me like laser beams, but mine don't fly the way of the crow. The moment's demanding a little understanding. You go on ahead, but I'm gonna take the back road. Always running 2 steps behind. Truth be told, lately I don't And it's a mystery where we go when we die. And some folks try and crack that code. You can spend your attention looking for redemption. You go on ahead, but I'm gonna take the back roads.
I don't want to get caught in the trap of vulnerability. That's so cliche, is what this guy said in a creative nonfiction class that I was taking during seminary at the University of Chicago. Vulnerability is so cliche, he said, to which I slowly and subtly looked around the room to see if anybody else thought that vulnerability was cliche. Cliche as in tried and tested and overused, because I had only first come across the concept of vulnerability the year before. So I guess maybe I was behind, but we all come across new ideas in our own time. And coming across this idea of vulnerability and finding out that I had lived the front half of my life in an invulnerable state was life-changing for me. Brené Brown, who of course, if you know her work, I'm going to quote in this sermon, because she literally wrote the book on all this stuff. She studied shame and vulnerability and courage, said that what most of us fail to understand, and what took me a decade of research to learn, is that vulnerability is also the cradle of the emotions and experiences that we crave. Vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging and joy and courage and creativity. It is the source of hope and empathy and accountability and authenticity. I want some of that. That's the stuff I crave. And if vulnerability is where we can find those things, then absolutely sign me up. We find vulnerability in the unvarnished truth of our lives. The truth that is under the covering that we put on top of it. I come from a line of woodworkers in my family that abruptly stopped with me. And they would tell you that varnish is a liquid that, when spread and allowed to dry on a surface, forms a hard and shiny and usually transparent coating. It's a covering that we put on top of something to make it nice and pleasing and shiny. And our egos love varnish. Do they not? Varnish we apply to our self-perception of what we want to believe about ourselves and how we want to be seen in the world. Oh, our ego, that part that projects outward, is happy to slap a coat of varnish on that deeper, harder, messier truth of who we are, hoping to make it smoother and pleasant for reception in the outside world. When I think about vulnerability, I usually think about how I can do that work to open up to the world around me. What am I willing to reveal? How am I willing to reveal it? When and to whom? When can I offer just that little more access to my raw and true self? Before we can be honest and vulnerable with others, the reality is we have to be honest with ourselves, perhaps an even harder and more elusive kind of honesty. So what happens when we take this idea of vulnerability, which we usually point outwards, and our anxieties are pointed outwards? What happens when we turn it inward? Are you able to be honest with yourself? Are you able to be vulnerable with yourself, open? Do you allow the full truth of your being to be known unto yourself? My guess is not. I don't know anyone who allows the full truth just into their daily consciousness and life. The reality is we all dabble a little bit in denial and self-deception. And I've got 2 young kids, and I have taught them from a very young age that lying is not nice. We want to be honest to the world around us. We don't like being lied to, and therefore we shouldn't do it to others or ourselves. But we do. So why is it that we would lie to ourselves? Why would we offer ourselves anything but the whole truth, nothing but the truth, whole truth, so help us God? Well, there are a lot of reasons, and I'm sure you're familiar with many of them. Deceiving ourselves is a lot more comfortable. It's a lot easier. You don't have to face those hard realities that maybe somewhere deep down you know are true. Your failings, your falterings, your shortcomings. And if you don't face them, then you don't have to change. Even better, because change requires effort, and that's hard work. You get to believe your best version of yourself. And doesn't that feel good? You get to create an idea of who you are in the world through your values and say, yes, that's me. I don't need to test it. I just know that that's me. It helps us avoid responsibility for our actions, and it helps us avoid pain. But as Beth sang in her opening song for us this morning, that's not how I want to live in the world. I want to know love, and I want you to know it too, in the real world. The real world, that's where I want to be, is in the real world. So how do we get to be in the real world. Well, Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, suggested that each of us, every one of us, has a shadow side. And the shadow side is not bad or evil, but rather those parts of ourselves that we find a little troubling, or that don't exactly square with our professed values, or our best concept of self, or it's the side of ourselves that might challenge us if we were to take a good look. And if we do take a look and allow that shadow side, it's that part that we feel might be judged and rejected and dismissed by the world, and that might happen sometimes, sometimes not. And so we keep these parts of ourselves, these very real and valid parts of ourselves in this unseen shadow. And we all have a shadow side. Jung said that a person with no shadow is just a superficial person in denial. Sorry if you were sitting there proudly saying you don't have a shadow side. Even if as I start to talk about our shadow side, I wonder if already you've had a couple of those ideas bubble to the top, because we oftentimes know what's lurking back there in our shadow side. Jung said there is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. One doesn't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. But there, in the dark itself, in the coming to face what we most fear, we have a chance at reclaiming the energy that has been drained by any falseness that we have been living. We can find those shadow sides, even if we can't name them, because, yeah, we all know some of our baggage, some of our stuff, some of our hard and icky, sticky places. And we can trust that there are probably others that we can't name, that are hidden from us, or that we like to keep hidden. It happens when we feel like we're running away from something, or maybe when we keep justifying our own behavior over and over, or somebody else's behavior. Or those times that you just feel inauthentic in the world. Or those times when you know it's not true, but you choose to believe that everything is fine. Or sometimes when you keep getting advice, sometimes the same advice from different people, and you can't make heads or tails of it, or you just simply believe that it couldn't be true. No, not you. And maybe it's overconfidence, or maybe it's underconfidence. The French existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre saw that self-deception, no matter how mild, as a form of what he called bad faith, an unwillingness to discover our essence as conscious beings and take true responsibility for ourselves. And if that's not what we're doing here on this shared spiritual journey, to try and discover our essence as conscious beings and take true responsibility for ourselves, our relationships in the world. And so to do this, perhaps we just need a cold, jolting blast of radical self-honesty, dunking our head in the frigid water, being bold and cold with ourselves. For Sartre suggested that one live without a future, without hope, and without illusion, should they not do this work of radical self-honesty. Calm down, Sartre. That sounds like a lot. That sounds very aggressive. Without a future, without a hope, and without illusion is how we should live. It sounds intimidating, and it sounds inaccessible to me. But how about we be soft and vulnerable with ourselves so that we might be truthful with ourselves, so that we might be better truthful to the world? Any effort to be open in the world begins with a vulnerable understanding internally within ourselves. Being vulnerable isn't easy, but it is good. The Sufi tradition reflects on the 3rd century Greek mystic Plotinus. Often he called God by the name the Good, and he said the good is gentle and is always at the disposition of whomever desires it, and that gentleness is the bridge between the good and our experience of daily life. Gentleness is the bridge. A courageous gentleness of vulnerability. Beth sang, "If love is a road, then fear is a gate. You muscle up the courage to walk through. It feels like the eyes of the world are on you. Your feet made of stone just trying to move. She is on to you. Love is on to you. She is on to you. Love is on to you. Love is already on to you. Love will always be on to you. Those places that you hide your shadow side. These perceived unlovable parts, they are a part of who you are, a part of your whole, the wholeness of you. Your shadow side is not somewhere else, something else, or somebody else, but a part of who you are. So love is on to you on this. You're not deceiving love, so let love be on to you. This is good. This is the shadow side dancing in the light. My hope is that you can find this courage to offer yourself this kind of gentleness. You are human. All of us human. None of us exempt from the human condition that we share. You're just like the rest of us. Thank goodness for this. And so offer yourself the grace that you so lovingly offer other people. In her song, The Backroads, she can't quite find her place in the world, struggling against that interstate world and just wanting to walk on the back roads, something that resonates as more true. There's a tension until a gentleness is offered. Some vulnerability to accept who it is. She's saying the moment's demanding a little understanding. You go on ahead, but I'm going to take the back roads, always running 2 steps behind. Truth be told, lately, I don't mind. Something shifted in the heart of the singer of that song. Spiritual writer Mark Nepo writes about unconditional love. Unconditional love is not so much about how we receive and endure each other as it is about the deep vow to never, under any circumstances, stop bringing the flawed truth of who we are to each other or to ourselves. An unconditional love from ourselves to ourselves. And as we love these parts of ourselves, our ego would have us cast off or deny, but let us not do that. As we judge ourselves, we begin to judge others. As we hate ourselves, we begin to hate others. But as we care for ourselves, we can care for others. As you accept yourself, you can accept others. And as you love yourself, you can love others. And so bring that gentle, courageous vulnerability and love into your own life. That unvarnished self, the one underneath, you, the whole you. To never stop bringing that flawed truth of who you are into the light to dance. And may that dance be gentle and swaying, creative and loving and life-affirming for you and everyone who comes near the dance. May it be so. We rise in body or spirit as we take a deep breath and sing our closing song together, How Could Anyone Ever Tell You?
How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? You're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Please say together the covenant of this fellowship, our promise to love boldly and mightily with one another. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We come into this space each week with a purpose. It's to be together with one another, create an environment of love that we can draw upon as we go back out into the world. So do just that. Draw upon the love available here, created by us, and take it into the world. Go in peace. Go for justice. And know and go fully in your heart and in your actions. You go with the love of this place.